She needs an enforcer. She needs a brute that will wreck people.
What happens when the brightest star in the league becomes the biggest target? She needs someone tough by her side, someone who won't just play defense, but will protect her. Caitlin Clark is the biggest name in the league right now, but that also made her the biggest target. Game after game, she took hits, elbows, and cheap shots. And for a long time, she had no one standing up for her. But that's about to change. The Indiana Fever has made a clear decision. They're not just building a team, they're building a wall. A wall of strong, fearless players who are ready to fight back. Not with words, but with presence, with power, with protection. Caitlin Clark is no longer alone. Now, if someone wants to go after her, they'll have to go through the enforcers first. In this video, we're going to break down how the Indiana Fever completely changed their game plan to protect Caitlin Clark by bringing in some of the toughest players in the league. From cheap shots to championship-level backup, this is the story of how one rookie's struggle turned into a movement. When Clark stepped onto the WNBA stage as a rookie, she quickly found herself facing a level of aggression that no player should have to endure. From slams and shoves to fouls that looked more like something out of a WWE match, Clark's early experiences in the league were far from what anyone would expect for a promising young player. The physicality wasn't just tough, it was personal. 17% of all flagrant fouls committed in the WNBA during that season were against Clark. Statistically speaking, it wasn't just a case of random incidents, it was targeted. Teams knew Clark was a rising star, and instead of trying to contain her with skill, they resorted to brutal tactics designed to get into her head and weaken her confidence. Every game it seemed like Clark was the focal point of the league's most aggressive defenders, who saw knocking her down as a way to slow down her potential. But through it all, Clark kept fighting, proving that her resolve and talent were unshaken. The physical toll was immense, but this was only the beginning of a transformation, both for Clark and the Indiana Fever. At some point, the Indiana Fever realized that they could no longer stand by while their star player was being treated like a punching bag. The team had been seen as soft, too nice, too passive, and that wasn't going to be enough in the competitive world of the WNBA. Something had to change. And so, the turning point came. The Fever decided to stop being a team that let their players get bullied. They needed to build a strategy that not only protected Clark but sent a message to the rest of the league that this kind of behavior wouldn't be tolerated any longer. No longer would Clark face this aggressive, targeted assault on her game without any consequences. The solution? Surround her with a core group of veteran players. Players who weren't just skilled, but who could stand their ground against any cheap shot or dirty play. This new strategy wasn't just about talent on the court. It was about building a mental fortress around Clark, a defensive wall of players who would make sure she wasn't going to face this kind of treatment again. This was the moment when the Indiana Fever took control of their destiny and decided to reshape their identity. The next crucial step in Clark's journey to protection and dominance was the formation of what we now call the Enforcers Squad. This wasn't just about adding talent. It was about adding players who could create a protective shield around Clark, someone who would fight back, stand up, and make sure that no one could target her without facing consequences. First on the list is Natasha Howard, a three-time WNBA champion and one of the fiercest defenders the league has ever seen. Howard is known for her defensive prowess, toughness, and leadership. But she's not just a wall in the paint. She's also a mental fortress. Her presence on the court sends a message to anyone thinking about taking cheap shots. Try it, and you'll have to deal with her. With Howard on the floor, opponents are forced to think twice before making any aggressive moves. Next, we have Sophie Cunningham, tough as nails and never afraid to stir the pot. Known for her grit and a mouth that never quits, Cunningham is a player who doesn't back down from anyone. Whether she's hitting a clutch three-pointer or getting in an opponent's face, she brings emotional intensity to every play. Her trash-talking may be legendary, but it's her heart and toughness that make her an integral part of this enforcer squad. Her chemistry with Clark is a fire and ice combo. Clark's calm and composed demeanor paired with Cunningham's emotional energy creates the perfect balance to defend against any attack. Then there's Brianna Turner, the silent assassin. Turner may not be the loudest voice on the team, but her presence on defense speaks volumes. At 6 feet 3 inches, she's a fearsome rim protector with the rare combination of speed, intelligence, and defensive instincts. Turner doesn't just stop opponents at the basket. She turns the paint into a danger zone, a place where no one wants to drive. Her calm and composed mentality balances the intensity of her teammates and makes her the backbone of the defense. Finally, we have DeWanna Bonner, the veteran leader. With an extremely high basketball IQ, Bonner is not just a defensive powerhouse. She's the team's general on the court. Her experience in big games and clutch moments adds a level of maturity to the squad. Off the court, she serves as a mentor to younger players like Clark, guiding them through the mental challenges of the game. Bonner brings the calm and steady leadership the squad needs, while also having the versatility to finish plays and defend when called upon. These aren't just players, they are the wall built around Clark. They provide a mental and physical shield, ensuring Clark's safety and boosting her confidence. Together, they make sure that no one can take advantage of Clark again. This move by the Indiana Fever was about much more than just bringing in talented players. It was a psychological shift that would change the course of the team's future. While talent and skill on the court are crucial, the mental and emotional protection these enforcers offer is what truly sets the tone for Clark's career moving forward. The message was clear. You mess with Clark, you pay the price. This wasn't just a defensive strategy, it was a declaration of intent. It sent a signal to the entire WNBA that Clark was no longer someone to be targeted with dirty fouls or cheap shots. Now, any player who attempted to bully Clark would have to deal with the enforcers who were ready to back her up at any cost. This psychological shift wasn't just about protecting Clark, it was about creating a team mentality of strength, resilience, and unity. The enforcers were there not only to stop physical attacks, but to ensure that no one could break the team's spirit, no one could break Clark's confidence, and no one could push them around. History of WNBA cheap shots. Unfortunately, it wasn't just an isolated incident. Clark's rookie season struggles highlighted a larger issue, targeting young, emerging talent through dirty tactics. One of the biggest offenders, the Chicago Sky, who were responsible for a staggering 80% of Clark's flagrant fouls. This wasn't just coincidence, it was a clear strategy to slow down one of the league's brightest stars through intimidation. Among the specific players who played a role in these cheap shots were Angel Reese, Kennedy Carter, and Dijonai Carrington. Each of these players was involved in multiple fouls against Clark, targeting her in a way that went beyond the usual competitive nature of the game. They were sending a message: stop Clark, and you stop the Indiana Fever. But that targeting didn't go unnoticed, and it certainly didn't break Clark's resolve. Instead, it lit a fire under the Fever to not just protect Clark, but to make sure that such tactics would never again be allowed to dictate the outcome of a game. Clark's calmness. Under pressure. One of the most impressive aspects of Clark's game is her ability to stay composed under pressure, no matter the situation. Despite facing repeated, aggressive fouls and being targeted by defenders all season, Clark never let the physicality get to her or affect her performance. She stayed focused on what she needed to do on the court, play her game, and make an impact. Take, for example, a game where Clark was knocked to the ground by a hard foul. Many players would have lost their cool, gotten rattled, or shown signs of frustration. But not Clark. She stood right back up, unshaken, and with ice-cold precision, hit a three-pointer moments later. This wasn't just about talent, it was about resilience. The ability to take a hit, get back up, and perform under pressure is what sets Clark apart from many players in the league. It was clear. No matter how hard the fouls came, Clark wasn't going to back down or let anything break her focus. Her calmness in the face of adversity only made her a more dangerous player. While others might have been thrown off by the constant barrage of hard fouls, Clark used it as fuel, staying locked in and continuing to produce for her team. This poise is something that can't be taught. It's an innate quality that makes her stand out as a true leader on and off the court. Enter Natasha Howard, the ultimate protector of Clark. Howard isn't just a defensive powerhouse. She's the shield that Clark needed all along. As a three-time WNBA champion and Defensive Player of the Year, Howard brings a level of toughness, respect, and leadership that instantly shifts the dynamic on the court. Howard's reputation as a defensive juggernaut precedes her. She's not only one of the best defenders in the league, but also a player who has the mental and physical toughness to stop dirty fouls before they even start. Opponents know that if they're going to target Clark, they'll have to go through Howard first, and that's something most players aren't willing to do. Her presence on the floor completely changes the landscape of the game. But it's not just about physical dominance. Howard adds instant respect to the team. Her accolades and accomplishments speak for themselves, and her leadership on the defensive end lets opponents know that any attempts to rough up Clark or intimidate the team will be met with swift resistance. Howard's role as the shield is integral to maintaining the psychological advantage for the Fever. But Natasha Howard isn't just a dominant player, she's also a leader. Howard's leadership philosophy centers around trust, team bonding, and accountability. She understands that a team is only as strong as its chemistry, and she works tirelessly to ensure that everyone is on the same page. Her leadership doesn't just come from her stats or accolades. It comes from the way she uplifts her teammates, encourages them to stay focused, and holds them accountable both on and off the court. Howard brings a playoff and championship mentality to the team. She's been there before and understands what it takes to win at the highest level. This experience is invaluable, especially for a team that is growing in confidence and strength. She teaches her teammates the importance of composure in high-pressure situations and how to maintain their focus even when the stakes are high. For Clark and the younger players, Howard's leadership serves as a blueprint for success. She leads by example, showing that hard work, discipline, and trust in one another are what create a winning culture. Under Howard's leadership, the Indiana Fever's defensive strategy is not only physically dominant, but also mentally sound. Howard is the kind of leader who can take a good team and turn them into champions. Sophie Cunningham is the emotional and fiery force that ignites the Indiana Fever. Known for her grit, trash talk, and black belt toughness, Cunningham is a player who doesn't back down from any challenge. Her presence on the floor is felt not only because of her skills, but because of the sheer intensity she brings to every game. Whether it's pushing the pace or getting into opponents' heads, Cunningham is always looking for a way to give her team an edge. But Cunningham isn't just about mental toughness, she also brings a solid scoring ability to the table. With a 37.8% shooting percentage from three, Cunningham is a legitimate threat from beyond the arc. Her shooting ability is crucial for spacing the floor, and her confidence to take the big shots gives the team an added layer of unpredictability. She's not afraid to put up shots in clutch moments, making her a perfect complement to Clark's skills. Beyond her shooting, Cunningham is also the emotional spark that can turn the tide of a game. Her competitive fire is infectious, and her fearless attitude helps push the team forward when the going gets tough. She's the player who brings the energy and intensity, setting the tone for the entire squad. The message is loud and clear. You mess with Clark, you deal with us. The Indiana Fever are no longer the team that gets pushed around. With the powerful enforcers, Howard, Cunningham, Turner, and Bonner, surrounding Clark, opponents who try to target her with cheap fouls will now have to answer to the entire squad. The days of unfair play are over. No more free shots, no more bullying. The Fever have built a wall of toughness, and they've made it clear. You mess with Clark, you mess with all of us. This is a team that now strikes fear into the hearts of every opponent. They've gone from being the team that's targeted to the team that dominates. This isn't just about basketball, it's a message. If you try to knock down Clark, you're going to feel the consequences. The Fever aren't just fighting for wins, they're fighting for respect. The days of easy fouls on Clark are over. Get ready for a new era where the Indiana Fever rule the court. Now, we want to hear from you. Will this squad dominate the WNBA? We want to know your thoughts. Can the Fever make it all the way to the top with this new mentality? Let us know in the comments. If you're loving this team's transformation and want more updates, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss the latest content. There's so much more coming. Whether it's breaking down the team's next big moves or analyzing each player's impact, you won't want to miss what's next. Keep an eye out for our next video. This is your chance to join the conversation and stay updated as the Fever push toward dominance in the WNBA.